Hey, here's something that people have been looking forward to. Overwatch 2, the long-awaited sequel to the hit video game Overwatch. Ever since the reveal of it back in 2019, it took the world by storm. Everyone was hyped and are looking forward to the eventual release of Overwatch 2. Overwatch at that time was ruined by the numerous mishaps the game had received, whether it is because of the unfun meta that have been rising, the devs don't know how to balance the game, or that the game never got any updates after the announcement of Overwatch 2, where Overwatch or even any online games needed to have constant updates to make those games alive. Fast forward to October 4th, 2022, Overwatch 2 launched and it was a complete disaster in a lot of terms. In this video, I want to cover up on Overwatch 2 and make a very opinion-based review, stuff like how fun this game is, and should I recommend it to everyone. So to start, here's what's bad about Overwatch 2 so far. For starters, there's a lot of controversy and mishaps happening on launch day. For example, that additional security measure by Blizzard requiring you to register a phone number into your account, and apparently, prepaid phone number do not work for this, leading to many players who are, let's say, less fortunate with economics, basically aren't allowed to play the game, even though the game is free. Although, I don't know the actual fact whether or not the prepaid phone number thing is true, since I have a prepaid phone number in a third world country and it works so far. So I can't really comment on that. But it is noteworthy since people around the world are complaining about this. Not everything bad that happened to Overwatch 2 so far is on Blizzard's side, however, since there's not just one, but two major DDoS attacks, leading to the server being overloaded and players not being able to play the game. You've probably seen the memes of Overwatch 2's insanely large queue by now. It can lead to around 40,000 players on queue, and sometimes players in queue can just get disconnected and put back to the end of the queue. While this is obviously the fault of the DDoS attacker, it is also partly Blizzard's fault as well, since they somehow did not prepare their server for the first launch. DDoS attack is reportedly not a new thing to Blizzard. Many DDoS attacks have happened before in their other titles, such as World of Warcraft or even Overwatch 1. So Blizzard not preparing for an eventual server overload and DDoS attack feels amateurish in my opinion. I know it sucks for them, but man, you could do better than that. There are other more minor problems that affected the game quality as well, but minor doesn't mean that it does not cause a huge effect on the game, one of which is the abundance of bugs and glitches that are present on launch. For example, that infamous Bastion ult glitch that has been going around the internet lately. People have been reportedly locked out of the heroes despite being an old Overwatch player. There's also an auto-buy bug regarding the chat too, although I don't know the integrity of that. Oh, and somehow my friend's friend list is suddenly wiped inside the game. There's actually a lot more bugs that I can list off, but you get the point by now that the launch was rough. And the last thing, and is probably the most egregious thing that I want to mention about Overwatch 2, is the monetization scheme and the Battle Pass system. Lo and behold, Overwatch switched their monetization scheme from the predatory loot box to a more free-to-play friendly Battle Pass system. Surely this is a good thing and nothing bad will happen to it, right? Right?
Wrong!
With the removal of loot boxes, progression in this game has been shifted to the Battle Pass system instead of the player level. While the Battle Pass progression system, like the rate of how much you progress the Battle Pass, in my opinion is acceptable at a decent speed, The reward itself is not a good sign to the game. So you see, the free rewards are basically filler rewards. What I mean by that is that these rewards are lazy, and well, the best way to put it is that these rewards are basically trash and do not amount to any worth at all. Premium Battle Pass rewards are better, but each level before every 10 level milestones are the same filler too. The main reward for the Battle Pass being the mythic skin, from what I see from Genji's now available mythic skin, is actually pretty good, but it possesses another layer of problems in the Battle Pass system. So looking at the Battle Pass, I found 5 problems that I can think of. The first problem is that the Battle Pass has become the main progression in the game right now. Remember back in Overwatch 1 where you have career levels and increasing your levels will give you loot boxes. But since loot boxes are removed now, well, the old leveling system got nothing. So they completely shafted the system altogether in favor of the new Battle Pass system. I think this is one of the cases where game developers or marketing team missed what Battle Pass is supposed to be. Because Battle Passes are supposed to be a side progression on top of an existing main progression in the game to better incentivize players to play on that specific season. Now that the main progression is gone, the Battle Pass automatically becomes the main progression, and it does not feel right to have your progression to be reset every season. The second problem of the Battle Pass is that new heroes that are coming up are only obtainable through the Battle Pass and are probably set on a paywall after the Battle Pass season ended. I'm pretty sure this is not a complex thing to comprehend, that a hero shooter, a genre of game that emphasizes on switching hero to counter the enemy team, shouldn't have locked the heroes behind the paywall. Not having the heroes to essentially perform better and win does not scream a good future for the game, and I wish Blizzard will change that in the future. The third problem is that the rewards in between 10 level milestones are very lackluster. As I said before, the Battle Pass rewards are basically filler and they amount to nothing in the end. These rewards are put just to have something in it, so that it feels like the Battle Pass has some worth on it. But in actuality, it does not, because these are just sprays, icons, and other small cosmetics that you never even pay attention to. Even after paying the premium Battle Pass, the premium side of the rewards also have a lot of filler, and the fact that the reward tiers for free and premium are separated, meaning that one level can only contain either free or premium rewards, means that premium rewards are inadvertently less than what a premium Battle Pass reward should have. You see, in other games with Battle Passes like Apex Legends or even Genshin Impact, they separate rewards for free Battle Pass and the premium Battle Pass. You passively get the free Battle Pass rewards without even spending any money, and the rewards are available for every level. Not like Overwatch 2, the rewards for non-paying players are, well, every like 7 levels or so. In conclusion, it feels unrewarding to play as a free-to-play player. Furthermore, back to the Apex and Genshin example, once you paid for the premium Battle Pass, you get both the premium and the free rewards. So there's a lot of rewards that came from just paying, making the premium Battle Pass have more actual worth in it. In Overwatch 2, there are some Battle Pass levels that are exclusively free, but premium Battle Pass owners don't get anything exclusive to them at that level, therefore furthermore decreasing the worth of the premium Battle Pass. The fourth problem is regarding the main reward of the Battle Pass, the mythic skin. Credit where credit is due, the mythic skin looks absolutely gorgeous. I, as a Genji main, was tempted to actually get it, but I have to wait and think about it for a while because of the other problems that the Battle Pass possesses, and the ramification if I buy it. So anyway, the mythic skin was set to be customizable with some changes. For example, you can change the weapon that the character uses, and you can customize the color of the skin as well. However, the mythic skin is currently limited in customization, with something like 3 color palettes, 2 choices of weapons, and others. It feels more unrewarding when you calculate the amount of coins that you have to spend on that Battle Pass to get it. To get the mythic skin, you either have to get the premium Battle Pass and then grind a lot of game time to reach level 80 to get the skin, or spend a lot of money to level up your battle pass on top of you already paying for the premium battle pass. If we are to calculate how much money it is worth purely on cash, let's say you buy the 2200 premium battle pass package, which instantly gives you 20 levels of battle pass plus the additional 60 levels, which is 60 times 200 coins. That is equal to 14,200 coins, which converted to US dollars is $142. $142 for a mythic skin and some filler rewards is quite a lot. I get that this is the standard free-to-play practice by now, but it doesn't feel right when you have to pay this much money or time for something that doesn't feel rewarding in between. The mythic skin itself is fine, but the skin itself is overshadowed by the other more jarring problems, such as the pricing of it for a limited customization of that feature. And speaking of pricing and coins, this leads to the final problem of the Battle Pass. Since loot boxes are gone now, and the main progression shifted to the Battle Pass, you'll have to earn something from that Battle Pass for progressing it. Remember back then when loot boxes give you currency on top of the cosmetics? Oh yeah, you don't get any more currency from the main progression of the game. Well, sort of. You can still get coins from doing weekly challenges, but the coins that can be gathered from every week is only 60. So 60 coins compared to the cost of legendary skins being 1,900 coins. I believe someone calculated how much time you'll need to get one legendary skin purely from doing weekly challenges. Heck, I'm gonna calculate it now. 1,900 divided by 60 is 31 and 2 over 3 weeks. That's a little above 7 months to get one legendary skin, which is baffling how little they give you for playing their product. Oh, and remember that future heroes are being locked behind paywall now, if you didn't manage to get it during a season. Yeah, I don't think the currency is enough to buy the new future upcoming heroes as well. This is another sign of a bad free-to-play game. It does not reward you with good cosmetics, and furthermore, you don't get the currencies that you should have earned. I'm gonna sample Apex Legends again, since it currently has a better Battle Pass model than most games that at least I know of. Because in Apex Legends Battle Pass, you can get currency just from progressing, and the amount of it is enough to pay for the next Battle Pass. And this is coming from EA, who is known for their money-grabbing tactics. It's kind of surprising and amusing. It actually gives a lot more incentive for players to actually buy the Battle Pass, since the worth is much more clear due to the transparency of the amount you're getting. I mean, if you paid for a Battle Pass for 1,000 coins and you get 1,000 coins plus a lot of cosmetics and the main price of the mythic skin for progressing, you'll instantly know that the Battle Pass is worth it. And that's as far as I can think of the problems with Overwatch 2. Closing this segment, I wanna say, do better, Blizzard. But well, I think I've ranted too much on that side of the game. So, how's Overwatch 2's gameplay now? Back when the original Overwatch released back in 2016, I bought the game and constantly had so much fun with the game, especially at the very first season of Overwatch 1. Had a lot of fun playing with friends or even solo queuing, which is really rare for me to even solo queue in the first place. But that fun didn't last long, as the game was being patched and balanced to better support the competitive scene more than the casual side of the game. Plus, there's the infamous role restriction that came out because the devs don't know how to balance the game, restricting your team to go 2 tanks, 2 healers, and 2 DPS. With these changes to the game, Overwatch feels like a game of shooting at shields and waiting for ultimate and then throwing ultimates at the enemy until the enemy dies. It is extremely boring to play, or even watch. It somehow trivializes the main genre of the game, which is shooting. You don't really shoot at enemies anymore, but you throw ultimates and rinse and repeat. As a result, I, as a mostly casual gamer, eventually grew out of Overwatch 1 because at that time, the game was not fun anymore. On the release of Overwatch 2 though, it felt like the same spark of fun back then reappeared and I was having fun with the game again. Maybe this is just recency bias and stuff like that, but I think it is more than recency bias that elevates the fun back to Overwatch. So what changed in Overwatch 2 gameplay wise? Well, for starters, the shift to 5v5 from 6v6 is a huge change. On the hindsight, it is kind of annoying to see that they just resorted to completely eliminating the 6th player to balance the game out. But looking into it more, I think it is a change for the better. Tank meta in competitive games sucks. We witnessed it in League of Legends and back when GOATs overtake Overwatch. Limiting tanks to just one tank means that there are less shields in the game, which makes the support and the DPS role have more impact into the game. Furthermore, supports have less load in healing their teammates since the team size is decreased, which also leads to supports being able to not just heal, but do other supporting actions or even damaging the enemy. Tanks, while only allowed to have one tank in the game, was not made to be less impactful with this change, but instead is the opposite. Tanks are also more impactful in doing their job right, which is protecting your teammate. Of course, these situations are for role queues only, but thankfully, you can go for open queue if you want to approach the game more casually. Overall, this change is great and is better for the game. The next noticeable change is probably the reworks that many heroes get with the release of Overwatch 2 and the addition of new heroes as well. There's a trend in Overwatch 2 that they are limiting the amount of stun that exists in the game. So heroes like Cassidy and Mei have some of their stunning abilities removed. I think this is also a good change since stuns are very annoying to deal against in a shooter game that rewards player for being able to aim. Stunning effects are a way to help you in that aiming department, but it is sometimes frustrating to deal when you are the one getting stunned, and furthermore annoying when you are the only one getting stunned. So reducing the amount of stuns in the game is, in my opinion, a healthy change for the game, making it less frustrating to play. But the reworks don't always change for the better. Some reworks made some of the heroes feel lackluster. The only hero that came to mind to me is Doomfist, because from what I understand, he requires so much to do this specific thing compared to other heroes, but the payoff is also not as rewarding. But I personally don't play Doomfist, or actually I don't even know how good the heroes are, so I don't really know about this kind of stuff. But I'll also piggyback on this downside with mentioning some baffling changes that they decided to, like the fact that there's no endgame stat cards, where in previous Overwatch you can upvote players that have done their best in the game. It is a neat feature that contributes communication into the game, and the fact that it is gone now in Overwatch 2, it sucks now. After the play of the game finished, it just kicks you out of the room. It sucks in every way possible. So yeah, this minor thing is a bummer, but not too game changing, but I hope Blizzard return it back to the game. That being said, my overall view of Overwatch 2, while it feels sour at first, the bad thing felt like they died down because they did a really good job with how they changed the game for the better by reworking and changing the format from 6v6 to 5v5. I am having fun again with the game, and I highly recommend everyone should at least try this game out while you can, especially with a group of friends to play. Overwatch 2 is now free, so you don't have to worry about spending any money. If somehow Blizzard listens to feedback again and changes some bad things about the game such as the Battle Pass, I think this game has a bright future. But we'll see about that. Overwatch was a historical and iconic game, so successful that it popularized the genre of hero shooters to the gaming industry. But sadly, at some point in time, it grew out of favor with the rising of the Battle Royale genre. Fortnite and PUBG has been regarded as the pioneer to this genre, and a lot came through to it, just like Apex Legends, who also adapted some of the hero shooter aspect of Overwatch and merged it with the Battle Royale gameplay. But one very noticeable game that has nothing to do with Battle Royale has been on the uprising. Riding on the back of Overwatch, that game is Gundam Evolution. It is quite a shocker to see Bandai Namco decided, hey, Overwatch is fun, let's make this game but with Gundams. And it actually skyrocketed to be one of the more popular hero shooter games in recent history. Funnily enough, this game released in a similar time frame as Overwatch 2, so I wanna talk about it and decide whether you should play Gundam Evolution or not. Is it a worthy successor to the hero shooter genre? Or is it just a cheap imitation of Overwatch? Gundam Evolution is a 6v6 hero shooter that is set in the Gundam universe, meaning that every hero you play are Gundam suits, similar to what we see in the franchise. You got the Unicorn Gundam, Gundam Exia, and even the Granddaddy Gundam RX-78 too, which is just called Gundam in this game. So rather than humanoid heroes, we got giant mech Gundams. But don't worry though, because the game still functions as a normal first-person shooter, just in case people thought the control schemes of a mech will be there. This game is very comparable to Overwatch. It is a 6v6 hero shooter, the same as Overwatch 1, and is an objective-based shooter. The main difference that was noticeable in this game is that there is no role distribution for the Gundams. What's amusing about this game is how they managed to pull off a hero shooter with everyone as a DPS character. Yet Gundams themselves receive very distinct playstyles between each other. Yeah, so every Gundams here are capable of dealing damage. Yet they have skills that differentiate each other. For example, we have the Soldier 76 of this game, Pale Rider. The Pale Rider functions as a standard issue assault rifle shooters with grenades and even the same healing field as Soldier 76. Compare that to Sazabi, for example. The Sazabi is a huge beefy Gundam that aims to absorb most of the enemy's damage by having a shield. That being said, he also had a shotgun as a primary fire, so being a tank, he did not sacrifice any damage for that. That might seem a little bit unbalanced, but once you actually put off the shield, the Sazabi is actually very vulnerable, since their HP, well, actually all Gundam's HP are very similar to each other. So in actuality, Gundam Evolution emphasizes the Gundam skills as much as shooting with their guns. Another differences with Gundam Evolution and Overwatch are more in the gameplay features. Gundams in Gundam Evolution have thruster systems, which you can utilize for sprinting, dash, and gliding as a movement resource. It strikes a contrast to Overwatch 2, where at base, heroes don't have a sprint ability, only Soldier 76 have that as an ability. Here, every Gundam can sprint, dash, and glide as a base movement ability, which makes the gameplay of Gundam Evolution feels faster, but it's not far harder to hit your shots since Gundam's body size are really big. The other contrasting feature is that every Gundam can revive other Gundams that are disabled. In Gundam Evolution, Gundams when fallen to 0 health will go to a disabled state before being destroyed. These Gundams can be revived and go back to the battlefield right from the place where they got disabled. But in addition to the disabled state, these Gundams can be damaged further so that they are confirmed to be respawned back to their base. This is a great change to differentiate Gundam Evolution with Overwatch. But ultimately in practice, it is a great feature that rewards you for actually winning a skirmish with an enemy, and it rewards risky plays for the players. Getting into the game myself, I actually have a lot of fun playing this game. It is somehow reminiscent of the time when the first Overwatch launched back in 2016. Back then, everyone did not know what they're doing. so we very much prefer to use what heroes we like to play, which inadvertently caused us to only play DPS characters. Gundam Evolution has that same vein, but they embrace that they only have DPS Gundams and a little bit of support Gundams, but the game actually feels like it's always been a new game. Well, we'll see about that in the near future, I guess. It's only been like 3 weeks or so since its release, so I don't know. Gundam Evolution is a fresh hero shooter game, but being new to the market will always have some flaws to it. Gundam Evolution, in my opinion, is one of the most smooth multiplayer games at launch. Well, more so compared to Overwatch 2, but that doesn't mean the game is perfect. Now let's talk about the downside of Gundam Evolution. For starters, the hit registration feels really bad sometimes, and it can be very irritating for other people. Most of the time, I always get caught and just die behind cover, and it is very annoying. The latency might have been contributing to this problem, but I have a feeling it's more than that, because my other friends also have the same problem as well. Furthermore, there are also noticeable bugs that I have noticed, like for example that sometimes some of my skills do not go out as it should have been, making it definitely not a really polished game. Sometimes I can't just shoot my primary fire, or even in some cases, you are completely locked out of your abilities because your weapon model just disappeared. It is infuriating when you get that bug, but it's not really a common occurrence. But still, this needs to be fixed. Oh, and I noticed that the MVP selection for the match is usually false. I don't really know what caused this, but yeah, it sometimes chooses MVP randomly and completely misses the mark. It goes downhill from this though. Another problem that I noticed is that the Gundams are weirdly balanced, as in they have questionable balance. Gundams like Exia just straight up have 5 dashes in one kit, making it one of, if not the strongest Gundam in the game, if used correctly. But there's also Gundams like Zaku Melee, who is just okay to a little bit strong when used correctly, but is such a lackluster Gundam to use because their numbers are low. There's also Mahiru, who behaves similarly to Junkrat from Overwatch, but their whole kit is just a glorified grenade launcher, hence the lackluster argument comes to place. But then there's also Gundam Barbatos, who not only can just one-shot you with one move, but they can stun you, and also is very agile with their ability to dash 3 times in a row. Oh, and speaking of which, the abundance of stunning effects are too much in this game, in my opinion. Remember when I said that Overwatch has a trend where the heroes are losing their stunning ability and that made the game more healthy? Well, Gundam Evolution didn't get that memo, because the majority of the Gundams in this game can stun you, and the stun is not joking around. It is sometimes infuriating to play when you get stunned, more so when you get solo ulted that stun only you. With this amount of stunning effects, I fear that the game that I think is a pretty decently fun game in general can devolve into an unfun and unhealthy game due to the stun. And it's such a shame to see a game die like that. I mean, look at Overwatch 1 back then. Bottom line though, Gundam Evolution, while a lot of fun to play, is also sometimes pretty infuriating to play because of the balancing issues and the amount of stunning effects in the game. I hope the developers keep this game updated with balance changes to make the game more fresh and ultimately fun to play. With that sentence, it sounds like the downside has died down, but apparently not. Let's talk about their monetization scheme with their battle pass and the shop. Yeah, this game also has a battle pass, and apparently it's even worse than Overwatch 2. I'm not gonna rant again about battle passes since these battle passes are practically the same. However, I noticed one thing that Gundam Evolution does that Overwatch didn't, and apparently it's a good thing. Gundam Evolution puts currency to their battle pass, although it's only enough to buy one locked Gundam. Oh right, I forgot to mention, there are 5 locked Gundams in this game. The worst thing is that you can only buy one Gundam per season through the battle pass, and apparently plus 1 Gundam from the beginner challenges from what I heard, but it's only one time only, and that compared to the 5 locked Gundams that are available to choose. you can't get another currency to buy the remaining Gundams as well, since outside of Battle Pass, there's currently no way to get the currency. Funnily enough, Gundam Evolution's situation is somehow a glimpse to the future of Overwatch when Overwatch is releasing more and more heroes later in the game cycle. The limitation of playable Gundams or heroes are a bad side to the game. It's bad for players and also bad for the developers. The players can't play as the locked characters, and the devs certainly wasted their time to develop something that people can't even play. I hope the devs and the marketing team realize this is bad for their games and change this in the long run, both for Gundam Evolution and Overwatch 2. So my final verdict on Gundam Evolution is, honestly, the game is better than expected. Gundam Evolution gives a new spin to the role-based hero shooter to basically do whatever you want because everyone is a DPS Gundam. It is a really fun to play game, especially casually. I don't really know about the competitive side of the game with their balancing issues and such, but nevertheless, Gundam Evolution is a worthy game and I highly recommend Overwatch players to also try Gundam Evolution while it's free. It is free right now on Steam, get a couple of games here and there, solo or with friends, and see for yourself if you personally liked it or not. If you want me to pick either game to play though, that is where it gets hard for me. Personally, I love the Gundam aesthetics. I really love playing Gundam Exia. That Gundam is my definite main, and well, I've become a broken record right now that the game is fun. However, the amount of problems related to the hit registration, balancing, and also the amount of stunning effects, I feel like right now, at least right now, I have to recommend Overwatch 2 more than Gundam Evolution because of how Overwatch 2 is basically more polished as a product, while Gundam Evolution feels like it still needs some more time baking in the oven. Of course, I have to keep in mind the amount of bugs and problems Overwatch 2 had, but recently Bastion was disabled for a moment for maintenance, so at the very least, Blizzard is still listening and took initiative to the problems that they have, while compared to Gundam Evolution, the last thing that I heard about that game is that they added measures for cheating, which is a good thing, but it's kind of been a long time since there are actual care for the game. But nevertheless, these two games are worth your time and I highly recommend people to start playing this game. These two are free to play, Gundam Evolution on Steam, while Overwatch 2 on battle.net. And that concludes my review to these two similar games that are released in a similar time frame. Thanks for watching, bye.